Imagine you are tasked with migrating millions of transactional records from legacy Oracle EBS system to modern Oracle Fusion Cloud. No direct access to Fusion database, tight deadlines, and zero room for error. What if there was a smarter way to handle this? Welcome to this session on automating data migration using ATP database. Here we will explore what ATP is and its role in Fusion integrations. And then we move on to the ETL journey, which includes extraction, transformation, and loading. The next is the FBDI methodology and how automation using OIC and web services enhances the speed. And finally, a real use case scenario for importing the GL journals from EBS to Fusion. In EBS to Fusion integration landscape, ATP acts as an intermediary database layer. So, why do we need this? Because Fusion Cloud ERP does not expose its internal database directly, unlike traditional on-premise Oracle EBS. Hence, we need a secure additional layer to stage and transform the data. This is where the ATP steps in. Accessing ATP is simple and you can use this in two ways: via Oracle ATP console or via SQL developer, where you can connect using your wallet and perform DDL, DML operations or loading, staging tables and validating your data. Now let's move on to the three phases of data migration. One is extraction, transformation, and loading. The first phase is extraction. This begins in the on-premise EBS system. The source data is extracted from the transactional and master data, and these are cleansed, validated, and normalized. This refined data is then uploaded to the staging tables in the ATP. This can be done via scripts or data pipelines. Phase 2 is transformation. In ATP, we enrich and validate the data using crosswalk reports, which map the legacy codes to the Fusion codes. These reports are generated using SOAP web services, and there are two types of web services which we can use. One is report services or schedule services. Schedule services uses bursting using FTP, and the report services will generate BIP reports. The lookup and the reference data like chart of accounts, GLP read, legal entities, these are also pulled from Fusion during this step. We pre-validate this data, checking for any invalid codes or closed periods. Once the pre-validation finishes, we apply the transformation rules to prepare the data in a format that is compliant with Fusion import programs. Error reports are generated if any failed records are there. Next comes the loading phase. The validated data is then pushed into Oracle Fusion using SOAP-based ERP integration service. The method used here is called import bulk data, which triggers the Fusion backend interface and loads the data into target modules. Post-load, reconciliation reports are generated and scorecards are sent to the stakeholders. The diagram here explains this process. The diagram here explains the data conversion process. It has the on-premise part and the ATP database and the Fusion database. Initially, the data is extracted, cleansed, and validated from the on-premise database, and they are brought into the staging table in ATP. Parallelly, data from the Fusion database is also fetched using either report services or scheduled service. These are both SOAP-based web services. Data from the Fusion are also taken into the ATP database. Here, we do the pre-validation. Pre-validation, after that, we can see if at all there is any errors. We can use the information in this table to understand if the error is coming from the Fusion setup problem or if the source data extraction had any issues. Once that is done, the transformation rules are applied and data is prepared and loading of the data happens in the next phase. Once the data is loaded into the Fusion, then reconciliation reports are generated, and this we will update the scorecard and send them via email to the stakeholders.